Hi, I'm here to talk to you in this video, which is the third one for the fourth week of the International Society of Tropical Foresters funding workshop. We're going to talk about approaching funders and connecting with funder objectives. So the usual approaches to a foundation or an agency, a funding source. Usually they put out a call for proposals, and they might want a letter of intent, a shorter document. And if they like it, they might ask you to submit a longer document or a full proposal. Or they might want a full proposal from the very beginning. Now, maybe there are no calls for proposals, but you could still approach them with a letter of interest or an email or a phone call to see if they're interested in your idea. So there are foundations that are more hidden. They don't accept unsolicited proposals, but they may have objectives that of interest that align with a project you would like to carry out. And maybe they don't put out a calls either for proposals. In particular, private foundations in the United States may not be very public about what they fund. They may not even have a website, and they may not have a phone number on that website if they do have it. So but to approach that sort of a funding source, you need to look for more information on them. See if you can find another approach for contacting them. Perhaps you have other avenues for finding information on their officers or board members, and maybe you can see if you can have a conversation with one of those officers to establish common ground. These are just some suggestions for difficult to reach foundations. But let's move on to foundations that put out calls for proposals or funding opportunity announcements. All right, first consider how to put together a letter of intent. Now, a letter of intent can be considered to be a short version of your proposal, about 2 or 3 pages long. And this website here from the University of Massachusetts has a really nice guide for putting together a letter of intent. So please check that. But in summary, a letter of intent would start with an opening paragraph or summary of what you want to do, time span for that, a short statement of need, why that project should be carried out, the activities, what you're going to do and how, the expected outcomes from those activities, and how you're going to determine or evaluate whether those outcomes were achieved. You need also to include something about your credentials, why you are well equipped to carry out that project, the budget, and then a closing statement that affirms your interest in the program. Now, concerning full proposals, if that letter of intent was accepted, yeah, they invite you to submit a full proposal. Well, we've already covered full proposals in a fair amount of detail. And at the end of this presentation, there is a page of other forms, other places to go for additional help. So let's say then that there is this call for proposals. You're going to submit a letter of intent or a full proposals, and you need to make in that document a strong connection with the funder's objectives. Now, a funding organization is giving out money for a reason, and that's because they have things they want to see happen in the world. They have objectives that they want to carry out. So the money they give out to the award recipients are going to implement their plan for them. And the people who receive their funding, such as if you're lucky enough to, you become their agent in the world. So to make sure you're making a tight link with the objectives of that funder, you need to find out everything you can about what they really want. That means reading through their website carefully and any other documentation you might have. You need to read through the descriptions of their programs, who they have funded in the past, and if possible, contact the program officer to see if they would really be interested in your idea. Now, once you have the information, from that funding source, you need to on their objectives, you need to see how to implement, make sure that is incorporated into your proposal. So you will, first thing to do is to look at your background or problem statement. In the first paragraph of the problem statement, you need to refer to the funding program objective that you will help them achieve. So then you need to show how you can make that as concrete as possible, how their objectives will be fulfilled in your local context, in your activities. Then, so that gives you the beginning, from the very beginning, you will establish a connection with the funder's program objectives. The next thing to do is to look at their statements they've made and their mission, objectives, and anything that explains their outlook, and the program announcement. Statements or ideas that you can use throughout your proposal as key pieces to show the tightness of that link. So no one can say that your proposal is not helping meet their mission. So then your overall goal is to show that you're going to show the funder how you will help them carry out their goals and objectives. An example of this is a short thing I put together here, perhaps, for the International Tree Foundation and their Sustainable Community Forestry Program. And you can find it at this link. Now, they say several things about this program, but the purpose is then, one of the things is we prioritize support for new community-based organizations so that we are able to help them build their own capacity to achieve their objectives. We encourage the preservation of Indigenous knowledge and the planting of Indigenous species. So an example statement you might make that helps show that linkage. Well, you might say, well, the deforestation rate in a certain part of a country has increased from such percent to such percent over 10 years. And as a result, local communities are experiencing a decline in firewood availability. We propose to work with 3 forest-based communities with whom we are already collaborating, make sure that that is true, to establish nurseries and planting of Indigenous species to help meet local fuel needs and food security. That's just one possible way you might make a linkage, but make sure you do this. So here are some references that can help you find, get more information on making a good letter of intent. And here are other additional references on helping you move along with your proposal. So for your homework, I'd like you to take the background or problem statement for your proposal and then connect it to the mission of one of the funders that you selected in the assignment for presentation 4.2. So thanks, and I'll see you in the next video.